Very excited about the topic that we're talking about today. Yeah,
Hi.
we got it to work.
Yes.
All right, that's better. So, good morning, everyone. I'm here with Karri Tidwell. She's a regenerative detox specialist, and we're going to talk all about the lymphatic system and kidney filtration and how that's important to this topic. So, I'm excited to hear what you all have to say. Thank you for being here.
Yeah. Thanks, Jenny. Thanks for having me on. This is such an important topic that once I understood this, it's completely transformed my life and my body. And I just have a huge passion to share this information. So, yeah, thank you all for being here. And I'll dive right in. So, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Karri Tidwell, and I am a regenerative detox specialist, a holistic health coach, and I came across this whole journey for my search for my own, my own truth about health, getting to the root of my own concerns. And it wasn't until I did this lymphatic kidney connection really helped me with this awareness and getting to the root of what I had going on. So growing up, I struggled with infections and weight, digestive issues, and fast forward years later, like and started getting my body. And I hear, I don't know if that's
You hear a what?
an echo.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Let me try that.
but that's okay.
Okay, I don't hear it. I don't
Yeah,
know.
no, yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Um, so I struggled with a lot of different health conditions, went to doctors and got misdiagnosed. They didn't know what was going on. And so I just knew I had to take my health and and so because I knew a pill wouldn't fix it. I was waking up chronic in the morning, adrenal fatigue. I had a hard time getting out of bed in the morning. And then when I went to stand up, up straight, I literally felt like I was 80 in my 20s. Like, wasn't able to function as well as like most people do my age. So I was like, something's not right. My digestion is off. I felt allergies. So I had all these like weird symptoms presenting in my body that I knew a pill wouldn't fix it. So I had to like make some shifts and changes. And it wasn't until I learned about regenerative healing and detoxification through Dr. Robert Moore that I was able to really understand and then experience this healing and transformation in my body. And so that's a little bit about the background of how I do it, and then I'll get into the kidney connection. So our body is roughly comprised of 100 trillion cells, and it makes like a bunch of cells make up our kidneys, a bunch of cells make up our organs, our glands, and each cell is surrounded by two major fluids. So we have our blood that feeds our cells, and then our lymphatic fluid cleans the waste out, is responsible for getting all of that congestion and cellular waste out of the body. And so I like to use the analogy of like a car. And so our bodies are just like a really amazing machine. A car also is a car has to consume and eliminate. So we have to give it gas. We also have to, it has an exhaust system. So same thing with our body. We consume, but we also have to have a way to eliminate our waste. So most people know digestive waste, and there's cellular waste through this lymphatic system. And so the lymphatic system is our body's sewer system responsible for getting all of the cellular waste out of the body. And so just like if a car has a check engine light on, it's like our symptom, a warning sign that something might be not functioning well or could break down sooner or later. So I like to use that with our bodies, can give us our check engine lights, could be our symptoms, it could be our tonsils being full, and it could be inflammation in the body, it can be chronic pain, it could be diagnoses from the doctors, it could be autoimmune stuff. So a lot of different things like tonsils being swollen and having to be removed. That's a check engine. That sewer system of the body has been adjusted and backed up. We're just taught to, we're conditioned to just treat or take things out. So really understanding the lymph system, which is our body's main immune system, can really empower people to understand, what causes this congestion and inflammation in the body, and then how can we get to the root to get the waste out. And this is a system that's just not talked about, and especially now with viruses and different things like that going on, really empower people to understand the system so that we don't have to be in fear of a bacteria or a virus or anything like that. We can understand the body's lymph, drainage pathways and elimination channels to really understand true health. So yeah, that's a little bit about the lymphatic system and the kidney connection. So our lymph dumps into our kidneys and we urinate out our cellular waste. And so if our kidneys aren't filtering the cellular waste, this is where things can get congested and backed up in the body. So just like I use the analogy of a baby, you have to do two things to make sure, two main things, make sure that it's healthy. You have to feed the baby, you have to make sure you change the baby's diaper. If you don't change the diaper, it has that back, that burn, that inflammation on the bottom. So same thing with 100 billion cells in our body that make up all of our tissues. If we can't change the diaper on 100 trillion cells, it's going to have that blowback, that inflammation, that pain, that acid, that congestion, the toxins that can't get out. And so when our lymphatic system gets congested and backed up, it can suppress our functions of the body. It can suppress the endocrine glands. It can suppress the kidneys, and then it's not. And so we're seeing so many so many things happening with surgeries of like people having to get their gallbladders out and like tonsils out and appendixes out. And this all goes back to the immune health. If we just understood this simple system of the lymphatic system and understand what causes congestion and then what can help open that up, that little elimination channel up to get the congestion out, we wouldn't have to have these drastic measures of like taking things out. So we're connected to our mom's lymphatic system, and so if she's not filtering her cellular waste out and has a baby, this is how genetics gets passed down. So I like to say genetics loads a gun, but lifestyle pulls the trigger. So if we're genetically predisposed to something, we can really shift that by changing our diet and lifestyle. And there's certain foods that helps with the elimination of opening up the kidneys, and there's certain foods that produce more congestion and mucus in the body. And so there's more mucus forming foods. So there's a book called The Mucusless Diet Healing System by Professor Arnold Ehret. He really goes into the detail. He was able to cure himself from all different kinds of things by just eating more mucusless, so eating foods that don't produce mucus in the body. And so growing up with ear infections, I grew up, being conditioned to think that we need to have dairy and we need to have, milk for calcium. And so I grew up drinking a lot of that, thinking that was good for me. And I grew up with chronic ear infections, and I had to take lots of antibiotics for that, which led to, all the other things that I accumulated throughout the years. And if I would have had this awareness, if my parents would have had this awareness, they wouldn't have continued to give me foods that produce more congestion and mucus in the body. And so, yeah, for all the mamas that struggle with kids with ear infections, it could be such a simple switch with changing the diet, getting the mucus forming foods out, so then their kids don't have to suffer like I did. And having this awareness has really empowered me to help with my kids. I didn't have this awareness with my first one, who's 14, and then my son, who is 3. I do. And so I've been able to raise him in a certain way that he doesn't congested all the time like my daughter was. I thought I was doing the right thing by giving her yogurts and different things, because I thought like, oh, yogurt is good for us. It has the good probiotics. And I thought like, if I do the plain yogurt, it doesn't have the sugar, but I didn't realize it was still congesting and mucus forming in the body. So things like that can be really helpful with changing diet, but I could take a pause and hear what you have.
I definitely relate to the mucus thing. I always was really phlegmy, and then I ended up, every time I got sick, I would get an ear infection. So you're on lots of antibiotics, and then I ended up having chronic tonsillitis for 6 months. I was sick for 6 months straight. And, it was like, how, like, they took my tonsils out, but I was always thinking, like, how does this just happen? Like, it was all of a sudden one day it was like I had tonsillitis for 6 months straight and it like wouldn't stop. And I was like, yeah, like getting my tonsils out helped, but I was always like, you know, it didn't feel like it was really getting to the root of like what happened. Like there's obviously something else going on. Like your body doesn't just freak out like that for no reason.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a common story with a lot of kids is they have that. And I can see why they want to get them removed because we haven't been educated and had this understanding of what's causing that inflammation. And so in order to have a healthier next generation, it's really vital to understand this so we can pass down healthier genetics and healthier habits. Not going to the fast food, the processed food. I mean, most people know that that can be harmful to the body, but not even starting our kids off on that kind of stuff. I'm assuming you grew up, similar like standard American diet. And so, our parents just didn't know this information. And so it's not, anyone's fault, but just now that we have access to this information and can share it, it's really beautiful to be able to help people in this way to get started off on the healthiest path. And then once I got my kidneys to open up, and it can take time, and there's a way to check to see at home to see if your kidneys are filtering. So you can pee in a jar. It might sound funny, but you can pee in a jar in the morning and hold it up and see if you see any sediment. And if you don't see any sediment, then you want to start with that elimination channel. And there's
Like
really
some snowflakes or,
yep,
it's usually like crystal clear. That's how mine used to be.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's amazing once like you open them up, like the phlegm goes away, the clearing your throat all the time. That was, yeah,
Yeah, so you've
it's very helpful.
experienced the power of that once you get that channel open and getting the congestion out, what that can do for your body. And so I meet a lot of people and a lot of clients who are like, oh, I eat healthy. But they've never taken the time to get the congestion, the waste out. And so that's when things can, be agglomerated and congested and backed up. So just like we can be backed up in our colon, we can also be constipated. We can also be backed up in our lymphatic system. And that can suppress the function of our adrenal glands. That can suppress the function of our thyroid. And so to help like get this congestion out, it's really helpful to eat more on the alkaline astringent side of chemistry. And there's an art to cleansing. And so a lot of people, or many people, if they learn this, can like want to jump all in and go all in. But there's sometimes if we stir things up too fast, it cause more harm than good. So it's really nice to do this in a systematic way of like really listening to the body and start making these transformation lifestyle habit shifts in a way where it doesn't shock the system. And so doing like we can share too about the 30-day lifestyle transformations that we host, because this can really prepare the body to regenerate on a cellular level in a way that's not too extreme for the body. And so a lot of times or what we don't eliminate, we accumulate. And so we want to really open up the elimination channels. And so there's a way to do that it's not so extreme. And so we offer supportive solutions and protocols that can really help open up these channels and help with cleaning out the GI tract, because a lot of times our kidneys are backed up. This can be a nice breeding ground for the viruses and bacteria to thrive. And then we're a host for things to proliferate. And so if our body is ever in trying to, if we get a cold or flu-like symptom, our body is trying to self-heal, self-clean. And if we suppress and stop that kind of locks that mucus and congestion in the body. And so we really want to do lifestyle transformations and not just like fad diets or quick like 3-day cleanse and then go back to old ways. This is really about understanding what our body is designed to have and then moving forward so to keep things flowing so there's not stagnation. And a lot of times when people have kidney stuff, or skin stuff happening, I always go back to wanting to check the kidneys and the lymphatic system. And that was one thing that got better. And I used to like have breakouts once a month, and that doesn't happen anymore. My skin is more clear. I don't have the dark circles under my eyes like I used to in the bags and in the inflammation. So I had this like laundry list of things that got better, which I'm assuming you're experiencing yourself as you get to open up this elimination channel of the body. And so, yeah, a little bit about the chemistry with it all is, if a little crash course on chemistry is 0 to 14 is the acid and the alkaline balance. And so our blood has to be right in the middle, 7.4 pH. If we're above or below that, our body will steal calcium or to balance out the chemistry. And so if we're eating more on the acid side of chemistry, we're going to create more acidity in the body. So like when too much inflammation in the body that can't get out, it's more acidosis. And so we really want to open up these elimination channels, hydrate, cleanse, alkalize, to really bring the body back into balance. And so our bodies are incredible at keeping us alive by stealing calcium out of connective tissue to neutralize the acids or water. So you'll see a lot of people like bodybuilders will kind of look swollen because we're conditioned to think we need high protein diets, and that can be really harmful for the kidneys. And so people will hold more water weight to buffer the acidic hit of the high protein. And then another way, it will steal calcium, the edema, and then cholesterol is another way our body will try to balance itself out from all the acids. So, and most people grow up on eating more on that acid side of chemistry versus the alkaline side, which is a lot of your hydrating fruits and vegetables. And so if we're eating more on the acid side of chemistry and our kidneys aren't filtering out this waste, we can just accumulate, and then eventually we get older and we have all these symptoms present. That could be avoided if we just understood the simple kidney connection to the lymphatic system and got that channel opened up and cleansed. So just like we take our car to get an oil change, this is kind of like an oil change for our body to really clean this lymph system out and understand it, so that way it can function optimally later. So just like if you don't get an oil change, you know, eventually your car will not run. Same thing with our body. If we get backed up with all the sewage and congestion, our body won't function optimally.
Yeah, definitely. And I love what you said about like how we eat so many acids. You know, your body has to be 7.4. Like if it's not, it'll die. So it's trying to survive. It needs to stay at 7.4. So we're eating like all these acids, and just like the sheer energy that your body takes to you know, neutralize itself too. Like even if, you know, your tests are fine, you know, you're healthy, I'm considered healthy, like all my tests are great, but I was just feeling like crap, and like, you know, everybody's so like low energy, like they always need coffee and all that. Like it takes so much energy for your body to convert that acid and make it alkaline in the body, you know. That just makes so much sense to me, like why I felt so like drained all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so it's really helpful to get that out. And so a lot of times people think they could just eat healthy, and that's great. Come here. Hold on, sorry. You need help?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
I can watch your phone.
Okay, good. I'll help you, okay? Yeah, so a lot of people, they can eat healthier and think that's great to add in more healthy foods. But if you've never,
Right.
you want to say hi to my friend?
No, I
Okay.
can watch phone.
All right, I'm gonna have to get going here soon, but
Yeah.
To help with this lymphatic system, you want to take a pause, like turn off the faucet while we mop up the floor. Okay, you want to say hi to my friends first?
Hi.
And help you.
Hi, cutie.
You say hi.
No.
You're so sweet.
Mama life here. All right, well, but yeah, no, thanks, Jenny. And I can share more too. We can do another video, and I'll get some childcare help, so that way we over with no interruptions, but pretty much, open up the elimination channels, hydrate, alkalize, cleanse, and we offer amazing supportive protocols for that. If people are interested, connect back in, and Jenny can help you out with that. But yeah, it's a beautiful journey to do this transformation, understanding, and you're going to learn a lot more about getting to the root, so that way we don't, have to suffer with things unnecessarily. And so not everybody wants to make this transition, but it's there for those who do, and it's completely transformational and life-changing and beautiful.
Yeah, you can take it at whatever pace you want. I think that's a beautiful part of it. It doesn't have to be go all in, all at once, but just a gradual shift too. I mean, it's great for transitioning to just a healthier lifestyle too. That's what I love about it. So thank you so much for your time and all your knowledge. I love learning more. I always learn, I hear these things so many times, but every time I always learn something new. So
yeah, awesome. Jenny, and thanks for taking great care of yourself. I believe the best gift we can give other people is taking great care of ourselves, because it not only helps those around us and our family, but I really believe the world. So yeah, thanks for taking great care of yourself and sharing this with your community.
yes, thank you so much. We'll talk soon.
Yep. Bye.
Bye, Sunny.
You say okay. You say bye.
Hey.